If the title doesn't make any sense, well, video game movies are movies based off of video games, and video games are video games based off of movies. Both can be considered pretty bad for their own reasons. So now it's time to see which one was worse, and by that I mean talk about both because both are pretty interesting and someone on my Discord gave me the idea to make this, so thanks, real life Peter Griffin. Video game movies. So these are movies based on video games, and for the most part they've still been going on pretty strong despite most of them being really bad. Doom was a movie, and the only interesting part of it was the first person scene towards the end. Everything else was pretty bad. Even Dwayne Johnson makes fun of it now and again. But we'll get back to him in a second. But it's pretty well known that at that point there was a video game curse of some kind, where if you tried to make a movie based on a video game it'd fail really badly. Super Mario Bros. Is probably the most infamous example. That movie is just so bad. I don't think I could ever sit through it. They gave Mario and Luigi last names to make them the Mario Brothers. Mario and Luigi Mario. Also, none of the characters look like they do in the games. It was a weird dinosaur world, like, what? The movie was so bad that Nintendo never wanted to make another movie again. Good choice. If we're still talking about old video games, there's the entire Resident Evil series, which I don't even know how it relates to the video games other than sharing the name. But that franchise went on until 2017, so I guess that brings us to the present day, where we're still making movies based on video games. But why? I mean, it seems like they make some money. There was a Warcraft movie 2 years ago that did alright in China, so there might be a sequel. Assassin's Creed came out that year too. That one was fine. I think the major problem is that they try and make things look and feel like the video games, but don't bother with characters. But that's because the games don't have amazing stories either. There are very few video games with amazing stories, so translating that into a medium that prefers stories over interaction is pretty rough. The video game movies got a bit better this year with Tomb Raider and Rampage, which were both fine. Oh hey look, it's Dwayne Johnson, he's back! He's fighting big monsters and stuff, and it's also based on a video game. So it seems Hollywood is still trying their best to make video game movies work. Let's check out the other side of the rink. And in this corner we got movie video games. He's old and decrepit and falling apart, and he's missing some limbs. Whoa! Movie video games. Most of the time when you get games based on movies, they're rushed into production real late into the game to have some resemblance to the movie. Whoa, you're making a game about the Incredible Hulk based on the movie? Well, you have to wait until our story is fleshed out, then you can get started. You got 6 months. So then the game comes out and it's rushed because it has to come out at the same time. So when people leave the movie theater after seeing the movie, they'll immediately go and buy the game. We are businessmen, we know what we're doing. We're gonna get people right out of the theater. They're gonna go and they're just gonna buy that video game because they love our movie. I'm a businessman. Now because of this, these games mostly sucked. They sucked real bad. Remember Iron Man 2, the game? Yeah, it wasn't all that good. The best part was seeing different suits suit up, but the game visually looked real bad.
Hush you, they stole a portion of Jarvis. Well, okay, a big portion, like 98% big, but who's counting?
Gameplay wasn't any good either, and neither was the first game. Yes, the early Marvel movies had their own video games, all the way until the first Captain America. But I have no clue how that one turned out. All I know is that the video game based on Thor looked real bad, so this was just the attempt to get some extra cash off of the movies. Well, what other franchise made movie video games? Transformers, duh, I have to fit Transformers in somehow, come on guys. This entire video is just a vehicle for me to talk about Transformers again, come on. What? So there were video games based on 4 of the Transformers movies. Still waiting on one based on The Last Night. The first one was one of the best games 10 years ago for me. It's pretty terrible, but I played it all of the time. Running around as Optimus Prime or Ironhide or Bumblebee just wrecking stuff. Someone I know even broke through the invisible barrier around the map. But they never did it again. I could probably still play this game if I wanted to because I have so much nostalgia for it. Same with Transformers 2, which just added a couple more robots to the crew and added way too many controls. And one thing I noticed is that the first one was all about melee combat because whenever you shot an enemy, they'd put up a shield. But the second one was all about shooting at enemies because if you got too close, they'd run away. I also remember the save points in the first one just being terrible. There was a mission where you had to drive down 5 tunnels and set something off. You had to get out in time or else you'd die from the explosion. Now if you get through 4 of them and die during the 5th one, you have to do all of them all over again. After Transformers 2, Hyman Studios came in and made 3 games. War for Cybertron, Dark of the Moon, and Fall of Cybertron. Dark of the Moon's actually alright. It's basically War for Cybertron with a Michael Bay movie skin on it, but it was the most well put together movie tie-in game of the series. But then Transformers 4 had a game. And it ruined a complete trilogy that could have been 3 good games. But there's still 2 good games, and the one I don't talk about. Just a carbon copy of Fall of Cybertron made by another developer with none of the heart or care that went into Fall of Cybertron. But that was it for Transformers games. No game on the last night. No game based on the Bumblebee movie. So movie video games have basically fallen off the map. So I guess if this is a battle between the two, video game movies are still going strong, so I guess they win. R.I.P. movie video games. I hardly knew ye. Well, there we have it, a video on video games or movies, I don't know. This will be the end of this episode. See you guys later.